For 10 plus years, addiction controlled my life. I tried everything to escape it. I even tried marrying somebody who I thought could help me out of it. Unfortunately, I got her hooked on drugs too, and eventually she ended up leaving me for another man shortly after we got married. That was when I realized I needed help. I felt alone and I needed God to step in. I started using narcotics when I was 13. 13. I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing. I was simply trying to numb pain that was being caused in my life that I didn't know how to deal with any other way. My parents had just gone through a recent divorce, and I felt like the only safety I could find was in pleasure and feeling good about things. I just wanted to get away from everything that was causing the pain. I thought I could control it. I thought it wouldn't take hold. I thought I was just having a good time, that it wouldn't consume me. But it grew. By the time I started getting into my later teens, I didn't even recognize who I was. In fact, I thought life was just kind of going to be like this for the rest of my life. This was all there was to it. It was just about getting high, numbing the pain, and this is what it was going to be. There's only one problem. If you stay in that lifestyle long enough, you're either going to OD or end up in prison. And that prompted me to seek change. I thought I could fix myself. I thought maybe if I tried to clean up my own life and got rid of some of the drugs, it would help. I thought maybe if I found the right person and fell in love, that maybe somehow she could fix me. Maybe she would just sit down with me and we would have this great life of being settled down, and poof, magically all of a sudden my life would be healed. So I married a girl that I believed could help me get out of my addiction and break free. The problem is that pain attracts pain and brokenness attracts brokenness. She ended up using too, and eventually left me for another man that she met at a club. I was kind of shattered inside and broken to the point of wondering what the point was. I didn't have anybody I felt like anymore in my life. And honestly, I maybe just wanted life to be over at that point. I think it was in that moment that I realized the truth. I have no power to fix myself. So there was a night when this just hit me all at once. I remember feeling so ashamed and so broken. I felt like I had believed so many lies in my life, and I didn't even recognize who I was. And I wanted to just die in so many ways. And I remember I was laying on the floor and I was in front of my bathroom, and there was carpet in front of the bathroom, and I just collapsed there from all the pain and all of the problems that were going on in my life. And I just started weeping, and I was just bawling. And to this day, I feel the soaked carpet just kind of up against my face. I had cried so much that it was just a sopping, wet mess. And I said out loud at a certain point, I can't do this anymore. I want to be done. And that's when something shifted. The atmosphere shifted around me. I was quite honestly surprised. I started to feel kind of this peace overwhelm me. And I heard God say in my mind, He told me, I will never leave you or forsake you. He didn't come crashing in with lightning. He didn't come in to strike me down. He didn't come in to say, I told you so. This is what you deserve. It was this just warmth and peace that just covered my body, and the words, I will never leave you or forsake you. And I felt in my spirit that was true, that He had been there the whole time, and that He would make good on that promise. It was in that moment when God said, I will never leave you or forsake you, that I just completely broke in front of Him. In a good way, I broke. I I had this amazing peace, this warmth of his love just surrounding me. And I knew from that point forward that I could have complete trust in who he is and what he said he was going to do in my life. And I knew in that moment that the power of that addiction was not going to have control over me anymore. Listen, I want to tell you that you were not meant to fight this fight alone. God wasn't disappointed in me. He was rescuing me. Now, I'm not going to lie. It wasn't all sunshine and roses from that point, right? I got up and I felt like I had had this encounter with God, but I still had to go through the fight. I still had to go through the battles because addiction is deeply rooted, and it wasn't just a one and done thing for me. I still had the stronghold in place. The difference is I now had an advocate on my side who was going to go at the stronghold with me, hammer in hand, ready to bash that thing and totally destroy it and take it from my life. Okay, so how did God break the stronghold? Here's 3 simple things that God taught me in that moment. The first is that covering the pain only prolongs the problem. The moment that I had exhausted all of my own methods to heal myself was the very moment that God had room to step in and bring healing into my life. Psalm 34 puts it this way. It says that the Lord is close to all whose hearts are crushed by pain, and he always is ready to restore the one who wants to come home. I was kind of like the kid who you skin your knee really badly, but you don't want to run to your parents. You want to show your parents that you're too tough and that it really doesn't bother you that much. And you're running around and you've got this blood just dripping off of your elbow, and you're trying to cover up the pain, and you're trying to just hide your face from your parents, and you don't want them to know that it hurts. So you don't want to, you're just ashamed, right? But the second your kid comes to you, they look at you in the eyes and they see that love, and they see that all you want to do is help. And so you just start breaking down crying. That's what it was like for me. I had tried so many ways to just cover up my proverbial skin knee in front of God. And finally, when I was at my end and I had nothing else to lose, he had room to step in, give me a big old hug, scoop me up into his arms, tell me that he loves me, he's never going to leave me, and that I was going to get through this. The second thing that God taught me was that the lie was actually stronger than my addiction. And here's what I mean by that. I had believed for so long that I was too far gone. Shame had been rooted in my mind, and it became the real prison. There's a story in the Bible in John chapter 8 where there's a woman who's caught cheating on her husband, and the people who caught her are the religious teachers of the day. They're the ones who have the authority of the law, and for them, it's death for her. That was what the law called for. And they wanted to stone her, but they also wanted to kind of trick Jesus and get him to, maybe go against some of what he was saying. And so they brought this woman up to him and they said, hey, she was caught cheating on her husband. The law says we should kill her. What do you say? And I love Jesus's response. And he looks around and he says, okay, yeah, whoever has never failed in their life and done anything against the law, why don't you go ahead and, throw the first stone at her? Why don't you start the process? And, one by one, they all kind of have a little self-examination moment, and they realize that, I've got issues too. And one by one, they turn away. And in the end, he's left face to face with this woman, and he says to her, where'd everybody go? And she says to him, I see no one, Lord. And he says to her, well, I certainly don't condemn you either. Go now, and from now on, be free from a life of sin. I feel like all the lies I was telling myself, all the shame that was locking me down was kind of like all those people that were surrounding me, telling me I wasn't worth anything and that I should just die. And I feel like Jesus stepped into that moment and was like, that's not who you are. That's not who you are. There's more for you. And I don't condemn you in this moment. I'm here to help you. I'm here to lift you back up onto your feet, and I'm ready to set you on the path and help you to move forward without sin in your life anymore. The third simple thing that God taught me in this moment was that freedom is going to be a relational thing with him. It's not going to be a one and done sort of thing. Like I said, I still had problems. Addiction is deeply rooted. And I still had many things that I had to overcome in the days going forward. The beautiful thing, though, was that I finally had him walking alongside me and going with me on that journey. There's another story in the Bible in Exodus where God is leading his people through the wilderness, and they finally come to the land of promise that God had promised to them. And they are said to go into the land and possess it. But God gives this kind of caveat as he sends them into the promised land. He says, I'm not going to give it to you all at once, because if I do, the beasts of the land are going to become too numerous for you and you're not going to be able to handle them. And so it's kind of like that with addiction. You know, you have good days, you have bad days, you have, sometimes weeks or months where you overcome and then you end up faltering and falling down. And I just want you to trust the process and trust God that he knows what he's doing and he is for you and he's not against you. And he will give you victory as you continue to walk with him, and you'll get stronger and you'll get stronger and you'll get stronger. Don't let the shame condemn you. Don't let the shame tell you you're never going to do it. You're not going to get through this. You're just weak. God is there for you, and he is walking with you through this. And I know sometimes it doesn't feel like that, and I hope I made the point that feelings cannot be your master, because if they become your master, the lies start to take root. Don't let it become your master. Pick yourself up, know that Jesus loves you, know that he's walking alongside you, and know that next time maybe you'll go a little bit further. Maybe you'll stay away a little bit longer. And maybe one day you're going to be totally free from it like I am now. So here's the invitation to you. I don't believe that you are watching this by accident. I believe that you are valuable. I believe that God loves you and he led you to this video. And the same God that broke my addiction and continues to break strongholds in my life that are beyond addiction, he will break yours too. There's a verse in Revelation in the Bible that says the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. And what that means is the testimony of what God has done in my life. He is ready to do that in other people's lives as well. I'm not here to preach at you. I am here to walk alongside of you and help you to understand what I've learned through the process, and I'm going to help you do that one video at a time. If you want more practical, honest videos like this, where we walk forward and walk through this into breakthrough, I'd love for you to join me on this journey, and I want you to know that you are not alone.